The day my brother-in-law moved in just for 2 weeks, I should have known I was opening the door to a slow, quiet disaster. My name's Andre, I'm 38, a systems analyst for a logistics firm, the kind of guy who reads utility bills down to the cent and never forgets to replace the air filters every 90 days. I'm not flashy, I'm not loud, but I am dependable. My wife, Lisa, used to say that's what she loved about me most. We've been married for 7 years, lived in the same neat 2-story house just outside Seattle, mortgage fully in our names, though let's be honest, I pay 90% of it. Lisa works part-time at a boutique interior design studio. It's a decent gig, flexible hours, but not exactly rent-splitting kind of money. Still, I never minded that we had balance. Or at least I thought we did. It started on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Lisa texted me, "Josh is coming over." He got laid off again. Josh, her younger brother, eternal optimist, zero work ethic. Let me paint the picture. 29 years old, 2 failed startups, 1 incomplete college degree, no savings, and a world-class ability to talk about crypto projects he never actually invested in. He was always between things. Between jobs. Between relationships, between bursts of motivation. And somehow, between all those gaps, he always landed on someone's couch. This time ours. Lisa swore it would just be for a couple of weeks while he got back on his feet. I nodded, all right. 2 weeks max, famous last words. Josh showed up with 3 duffel bags, a guitar, and an Xbox. Day 1. He slept till 11 a.m., woke up, ordered takeout using my Uber Eats, and asked if we had any spare blankets for when the nights get chilly. Day 3. I came home from work to find him wearing my hoodie and watching my Netflix account, logged in on my TV in the living room. He nodded without pausing the show and said, "Yo Dre, fridge is looking kinda empty. You going shopping soon?" Day 5. I had to remind myself that murder is still illegal in all 50 states. But I stayed quiet. I reminded myself, family is family. Still, 2 weeks passed, and not a word about leaving. Not even a hint. By the 3rd week, I noticed a pattern. Lisa had started defending him. Every time I brought up Josh, even lightly, her eyes would narrow. I'd say, "Hey, did Josh say when he's planning to job hunt?" She'd respond, "Can't you give him some space? He's under a lot of stress." Stress. The man was living like a cat. Sleeps all day, eats for free, and stretches once in a while when the sun hits him right. I did all the grocery runs. I paid the Wi-Fi, power, gas, water, garbage, and streaming subscriptions. I even paid for the DoorDash tip when Josh started ordering under Lisa's name. At one point I calculated, I was covering nearly $4,000 a month, solo. But here's the kicker. The moment I expressed even a flicker of frustration, Lisa snapped. We were in the kitchen. I had just opened the electricity bill, up 30% since Josh arrived, and muttered, "Guess those 4-hour gaming sessions really light up the grid, huh?" Lisa whipped around. "Seriously, Andre? He's family. Why are you acting like he's some burden?" I stared at her. "Because he is. And you're not even acknowledging it." She slammed the drawer shut. "You're being cold. He has nowhere to go." I took a breath. He had somewhere to go. It was called 2 weeks. That was the agreement. That's when she yelled, "You always make it about money. Why do you act like you're the only one doing things around here?" That was the moment everything clicked. She didn't see the invisible labor. She didn't see the numbers stacking up. She didn't see me. I didn't yell back. I didn't argue. I just nodded, "Okay." I walked away that night and went into our home office. And that's when the idea began to form, quietly, logically. If I'm the only one paying for this household, maybe it's time I charge the other tenants. So let me ask you, what would you do if your spouse defended a freeloading sibling and yelled at you for stating the obvious? Would you argue? Throw him out? Or would you calculate the cost of every bite he's taken and send him the bill? Let me know in the comments. And trust me, you'll want to see what I did next. It's funny how the one who pays for everything becomes the one who gets told to shut up. You know, I used to look forward to coming home. The smell of dinner from the kitchen. Lisa humming some out-of-tune melody. My dog, Pepper, wagging her tail at the door. I'd walk into the sound of Josh yelling into a gaming headset, Lisa laughing at one of his TikToks, and a kitchen full of dirty dishes I didn't use. There's a special kind of loneliness in feeling unwelcome in your own home. By the 5th week, Josh had fully merged into our lives. Not as a guest, but as a permanent fixture. He claimed the living room as his workspace and had his things spread across the coffee table, laptop, chargers, wrappers, a cereal bowl that had started growing something green. Lisa even let him use our laundry machine without asking. I found one of my favorite black tees shrunk into toddler size because, of course, he didn't sort loads. And the worst part? Lisa defended every single thing. He's just trying to get back on track. Don't you remember how hard it was when you were unemployed for 2 months? I did, but I never moved in with someone and treated them like a hotel concierge. I applied to 20 jobs a day. I didn't start a YouTube channel about alternative investing with no capital. That week I got the credit card statement. Between Lisa's DoorDash orders and the extra utilities, I was burning through more than $5,000, and not 1 cent of it was mine alone. So I started tracking everything. Yeah, like a spreadsheet. Call me petty, but you know what's even pettier? Living in a house rent-free, job-free, and guilt-free while the guy funding it all gets called cold. Every line item had a name. Groceries, $450 electric bill, $210 Wi-Fi, $130 water, $95 gas, $60 streaming services, $72 Josh's mystery Amazon packages, $138 miscellaneous snacks and Red Bulls, $87 total waste of oxygen tax. I tried again, I really did. One night after dinner, I sat Lisa down. I just want to talk, I said calmly. She crossed her arms. If this is about Josh, save it. I paused. It's not about Josh. It's about us. About respect. She rolled her eyes. Andre, don't be dramatic. I showed her the spreadsheet. Clean, color-coded, organized. Do you realize I've paid over $9,000 to keep this house running since Josh got here? Her response? Then stop counting every little thing. That's not love, that's control. 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 That word echoed in my skull for days. The final straw? Josh used my car without asking. I woke up and found it missing from the driveway. Apparently he needed to run errands. He brought it back 6 hours later with the gas tank half empty and a suspicious smell of weed. When I confronted him, he laughed. You act like I crashed it or something. Lisa backed him. He just borrowed it. Chill out. That's when I realized I wasn't married anymore. Not really. I was a live-in ATM. But I stayed quiet for now. Because that night, lying in bed while Lisa scrolled on her phone and Josh's laughter echoed from the living room, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Clarity. If they wanted to treat me like the landlord, then it was time to act like one. With paperwork. So let me ask you, what would you do if your spouse ignored your boundaries and let someone else take over your life and your bank account? Would you scream, kick them out? Or would you itemize everything down to the last crumb and make your next move surgical? Drop your thoughts in the comments. It's time I send the bill. Subscribe now so you don't miss what happens when they open it. I didn't yell. I didn't slam doors. I just sent them both the same invoice. See, I realized something. You can scream and stomp and throw tantrums. People tune that out. But silence? Silence with a smile and a printed invoice? That gets attention. That weekend, I skipped my usual chores. No grocery run, no laundry, I didn't even refill the Brita filter. Instead, I opened my laptop, created a document titled Household Cost Breakdown, Q1 plus Q2, Lisa and Josh, and I started typing. Line by line. Mortgage contribution, $1,400 utilities, $426 internet and streaming services, $202 groceries, $698 car usage, $310 household cleaning supplies, $68 toilet paper and paper towels, $32 Red Bulls, snacks, DoorDash, samples, $178 laundry utilities, $85 miscellaneous stress and mental wear. I included dates, totals, and short descriptions. Professional cold bulletproof. I even added late fees, 5% if not paid in 14 business days. Final line at the bottom? Balance due, $9,870. Payment options, Venmo, Zelle, or direct deposit. Then I did something even more theatrical. I printed 2 copies. Tucked them into separate envelopes. Wrote their names in cursive on each, Lisa and Josh. Then I left them right where they'd find them. Lisa's on her nightstand. Josh's, taped to his Xbox controller. And I went to bed early. I slept like a baby. The next morning? Explosion. Josh found his first. I was pouring coffee when I heard, "Dude, what the hell is this?" I didn't even flinch. "Looks like a bill." Did I miscalculate something? Lisa appeared seconds later, her face white as printer paper. "You're serious?" she asked, holding the envelope like it had personally insulted her. "As a heart attack," I said, sipping my coffee. Josh stormed in, waving the paper. "This is some passive-aggressive psycho crap." I tilted my head. Is it passive-aggressive? If it's fully itemized and dated? Lisa's voice rose. "You billed your wife." "No," I said calmly. "I billed my co-occupant who's been dismissing my concerns for months. And her dependent." They didn't know what to do with it. Josh kept muttering, pacing, threatening to leave, which, ironically, would have reduced the bill immediately. Lisa, she looked betrayed, like I'd committed treason. "How could you put a price on family?" I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You put a price on me the moment you started expecting everything and contributing nothing." Josh packed that afternoon, though it was more of a dramatic stomping, slamming the door process than a graceful exit. Lisa didn't stop him. But she didn't apologize either. She just went silent. No dinner that night. No small talk. I didn't mind. Peace was finally back. You might think I felt guilty. But I didn't. Not when I opened the fridge and finally found the food where I left it. Not when I walked past the bathroom and didn't hear 40 minutes of water wasting down the drain. Not when my phone buzzed the next morning and I saw a Zelle payment for $2,000. From Lisa. With a memo, partial more later. Oh yeah, she paid it. Not because she agreed, not because she was sorry. But because I made something invisible. Undeniable. When someone's mask slips, they'll do anything to put it back on, even if it means blaming you for their fall. Josh left. That much was clear. But peace? Not exactly. He may have taken his duffel bags and his half-finished bag of Doritos, but the energy he left behind stayed like a stain on the walls. One of those invisible ones you can still smell. Lisa stopped talking. Not silent treatment, quiet, strategic silence. The kind where every slammed cabinet, every exaggerated sigh, every clatter of cutlery says, "You did this." She didn't sleep in our bed that first night. Took the guest room. How ironic. 2 days later, I noticed she hadn't touched the laundry. Or the dishes. Or even the mail. It was like she went on domestic strike. When I asked, "You okay?" she replied with, "Do you care? Or am I just another line item on your spreadsheet?" Yeah, that's where we were. Then came day 4. She broke the silence, not with an apology, not even a question, but with an ultimatum. "I want Josh to come back. Just for a while. Until he gets a new job." I stared at her like she'd spoken in Morse code. "You're joking." She crossed her arms. "He's my brother. He's family. And you humiliated him." I laughed, one of those tired, dry chuckles that doesn't even reach the throat. "Lisa, I didn't humiliate him. I just added up what he owed. If that's humiliating, maybe the problem wasn't the bill." Her eyes flashed. "So it's me or him. If you can't forgive this and move on, maybe I should go." And there it was. The line in the sand. But I didn't beg, I didn't raise my voice. I walked to the kitchen drawer, pulled out a manila folder, and handed her a paper with the words, "Shared occupancy lease proposal, effective immediately." She blinked. "What the hell is this?" I said calmly, "If we're housemates now, we need rules. Responsibilities. You cover 50% of everything moving forward, or we restructure this marriage. You're turning our relationship into a rental agreement?" "No," I said. "You did when you chose him over me." She didn't say a word. Just stared at the paper and then she cried. Not a soft, emotional release kind of cry. A bitter one, the kind that comes when someone realizes they just lost their power. But the tears didn't work this time. I left the paper on the counter and went upstairs. That night, she didn't sleep in the guest room. She slept at her sister's. And in the morning? A Zelle notification again, $1,000 more. No text, no note, just payment. And with that, I knew something deeper than money had been broken. For years, I thought we were a team. Turns out we were roommates with different values, different limits, and wildly different definitions of respect. I had been funding peace. Now I was funding clarity. So let me ask you, what would you do if your partner gave you an ultimatum that completely ignored your values? Would you cave to avoid the storm? Or stand tall and let the thunder hit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. They thought I was petty. No, I was precise. Lisa stayed with her sister for 3 days. No calls. No texts. Just the occasional Zelle payment. Like that made it all go away. But something funny happens when silence finally settles over your house. You start to hear yourself again. I cleaned out the fridge, tossed Josh's half-eaten nonsense. Scrubbed the bathroom, no beard hairs in the sink, no empty Red Bulls on the counter. Put my favorite jazz playlist on low. Sat on the patio with a beer, breathed. It felt like my house again. And then I realized something. I liked it better this way. Not because I wanted to be alone, but because I was finally free from negotiating my worth to people who never really saw it. Lisa came back on a Sunday. No suitcase, no drama. Just walked in like she still lived here, like nothing happened. I was at the kitchen table, sipping my coffee, reading the paper like someone in a cliché revenge movie. She said, "I've been thinking." I looked up. "So have I." She sat down. No eye contact. "I overreacted," she said. "But you were cold. You went too far." I folded the paper. "And Josh? You still think I should apologize to him?" She hesitated. "He's not coming back. He's staying with a friend." No apology, just a statement of facts. Then she looked at me, almost pleading. "Can we go back to how things were?" I smiled, genuinely this time. "No, Lisa. We can't." She blinked. "So that's it?" "Not necessarily," I said, sliding the lease agreement across the table. "But if we move forward, it'll be different." She stared at it. "You're really asking me to sign this?" "No," I replied. "I'm asking you to grow up. Be a partner. If you want to stay here, share the load. Financially, emotionally, practically. I won't be your parent or your ATM." She didn't sign it. Not that day. Instead, she said something I'll never forget. "You've changed." And I said, "No. I just stopped pretending I didn't notice when you did." The next week, I filed for legal separation. Changed the locks. Split the bank accounts. Updated my will. And yes, canceled Netflix. Lisa moved out a month later. We're still technically married. For now, but I sleep in a house that feels 10 times lighter. And Josh? He tried to come back, said something about getting back on track. I handed him a printed copy of the invoice and said, "Installment plans still open. Let me know if your Twitch donations pick up." Haven't seen him since. My life now? Quieter, cleaner, cheaper. I walk my dog, cook for one, and blast Miles Davis with no headphones. I don't check the electric bill every day. I don't brace myself when I get home. And the best part? I don't have to explain my worth to anyone anymore. So let me ask you, one last time, was I cruel? Or just done being used? Would you have stayed and begged, or handed them the bill and walked out smiling? Let me know in the comments. And if this story hit home for you, hit subscribe. Because the quiet ones? We notice everything. And sometimes we bill for it.